Hey guys, it's 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗏𝗡𝗚 here, and welcome back to another build challenge. So as you can tell from the title of today's video, we are back with another EA renovation. But of course, we do have a very special twist. We will be changing the style of this build entirely based upon a different Sims 4 pack. So in this case, we are located in the world of Windenburg in the Get Together pack, but I will be choosing a new style and pack to give this renovation a proper makeover. Now, apart from that, I don't really have any other build restrictions. This overall is a very Tudor-esque Western European build. I'm kind of getting medieval or Renaissance vibes with this, and it is a massive 3 stories, so this is going to be a really fun bar to renovate, and hopefully we can give this a whole new look with another Sims 4 pack. So starting off the renovation, I do actually want to create one more limitation. I'm going to use only 2 packs combined with base game. I will of course be using base game paired with the Get Together pack where this build is located, and also one more pack that will influence the overall style of this build. So I think that is a pretty interesting restriction, and it will really challenge us to see what we can do with this lot. Alright, and going into this, I actually did have a pack in mind. It's going to be a pretty fun twist, and I'm actually going to choose the Jungle Adventure pack. So I'm envisioning a very Latin American inspired build. It could be done in a more Spanish mission style perhaps, but I'm going to see where these objects are going to take us. Alright, for starters, we really have to get rid of this Tudor-esque look. It's definitely not fitting with the vibe here. So let me see what wallpapers we do have available. So going into the wallpapers, we do have some pretty interesting options. I don't really think I want to start with tile, but I would like something maybe like this. We can do more of a rocky texture at the bottom, and then continue it with more of a stucco look up top. Probably going to vary the colors a little bit. I certainly don't want the build looking too flat. But one thing I want to change is the roof, because this is a very strange structure. I could potentially remove this area. I could do maybe a larger steeple in its place, but let me delete these hipped roofs for now. Alrighty, let me close this up just like this, and we should now have some proper flooring underneath. Perfect. I think these gabled roofs are fine for now, but let me go ahead and see what we can do with this roof. I do like these options from base game if I want something like this, kind of a more mission look, if you will. Now, I will say, you guys, I think sizing is going to be an issue because this is quite small, and if I go up one size, we are pretty large, and I think it'll have to be this option, so I'll probably place it about here and then resolve this area up front. Do we have a small fence that could do the trick? Possibly. I could pull maybe from the base game once more and do a little tiny wall up here. Could this do the trick? Okay, this certainly does not work. Maybe a smaller trim or even a tiny roof could even be a solution. So I could do something like this, kind of a half gabled roof like so. And then maybe if it's very, very low to the ground, and possibly using the Jungle Adventure tiles like this. The rest of the roof is going to be a little bit difficult. I could potentially bring back this piece and use it over here as well. I'm probably going to have to modify the structure of this build ever so slightly, but I think this can do the trick here. Alright, and I guess we can push this in over here. I'm trying to roughly align it with the edges of this roof piece, so hopefully this does the trick. Alright, let's get rid of the chimney for now. I'm going to also lower this as well. Alright, I'm liking that better. I will do the same thing with this gabled roof as well. I'm going to delete it for now and resolve the broken ceiling tiles. Alright, copy you over here, and I think this actually may work out. Alright, for the main roof, I think we are going gabled here, and I'm going to bring down that roof height fairly low. I definitely don't want it to intersect the front 2 pieces over here, so let me go ahead and do that, and then use the same roof tiles from the Jungle Adventure pack. Alright, in terms of things we can remove, I'm definitely getting rid of all of these flags. The planter boxes themselves are very Tudor-esque, so unfortunately they must leave. There is a random column here, which I don't really know how that got there. It's probably me with shrinking the build. We do have a glitching toilet, but we can fix that. Alright, we certainly do not need these corbels right now, but I will probably replace them with something from the Jungle Adventure pack. Alright, for the windows, we do actually have some pretty cool options that we can use. Let us see what we have to work with from the pack specifically. Ooh, I do like some of these open air options, so let me get rid of these for now, and possibly use something like this, kind of giving us a nice view outside. Alright, can we bring down these same windows? I think we could. Let me delete these lights on the inside and also these Tudor windows as well. Ooh, better yet, we could actually use some very interesting archways. We do have these from the pack, which could be pretty cool, and we also have these as well. Alternatively, I could also use the ones from base game. I could do something like this and have a few of these going across. That could be pretty cool. I do believe there is also a matching window from base game that does have a little bit more of a railing. So let me see if I can find that. We did have this one, which is the one I had in mind. So let me do this. All right. And for the swatch, I'm thinking the one with all wood, trying to match the windows upstairs. And I will do more of these going across as well. Ooh, I do like how this is looking so far. I will use the awnings from the Jungle Adventure pack as well and place them above the arches just like this. Ooh, we do have some floating lanterns. Let me get rid of those. We definitely do not need them from the Get Together pack, but I will replace them with something else. Going down here, we can actually mix it up a little bit. I do like the options that are also more of a lattice style window, so we could do something like this and build it up from the ground. Honestly, I'll probably keep the symmetry of this space. I think it does work fairly well. So let me go ahead and copy these lattice pieces up here and then possibly leave a space for the inside for some kind of fireplace or other mantle. All right, do we have any more windows? Yes, we do have windows to the bathroom, which are interesting. I think I will remove them for now just so that we have more privacy. I could put a few of these lattice pieces up here just so that we have more ventilation in this space. All right, can I change out this wall trim? I think I can. We do have an option from this pack over here. And if I do a matching wood, let's see how this looks. Okay, let me delete this first. Can I try it again? Maybe. It doesn't seem to be working, you guys. I do want it to wrap around this bit, but it doesn't really seem to be doing that. All right, all of the wall trim is pretty much in place. I could not get it to situate over here for now, so let me do a base game option instead. All right, maybe this one that blends in enough, and then one over here as well, and I think that should be all right. All right, next on the agenda is probably this fencing. It certainly does not go with the build any longer. So let me see what we do have available. All right, and for options, we do have quite a bit. Obviously, we do not have the other packs available. We do have more of a Spanish style wall like this. But I think it is pretty chunky for the build right now, so let's not do that. Honestly, though, I do kind of like this option from the Jungle Adventure pack. I think it will fit with the vibe of the build and match the wood tones fairly well. So let me do something like this. All right, for the foundation, we didn't get any new options from the Jungle Adventure pack. We could do maybe something like this, so we could pull from a different part of the Get Together pack, and maybe do this option. Ooh, better yet, all gray. All gray works well. It does blend into the wallpaper I chose, so let me go ahead with this option, and then we also have to change out this very, very dark walkway. All right, 4 options here. Let me see what we do have available. I know that we have some tile from this game. I do love this wood. I think it's one of my favorite wood textures for the flooring. But for other options, we do have more of a terracotta look, which could be interesting, or maybe even something like this. So let me give this a try. Ooh, I do like this look quite a bit. It does match the walls, so that's pretty cool. All right, on second thought, I don't know if I need all of these fence pieces here, so let me delete these 4 units like this. All right, Sims 4. If only we could delete only one portion of the railing, it would be perfectly fine, but we're going to ignore it. We're going to pretend it's not there. All right, what is officially next on the agenda? I guess I could change out the foliage. This doesn't really fit with the look anymore, so hopefully something more tropical or even more desert-like. That could do the trick. All right, guys, it is officially executive decision time, and I think I'm actually going to use this option from the Jungle Adventure pack and get rid of these wooden railings. I think this will just be a lot more fitting for a flower bed or planter box type of area, so I will add them in over here and then also where the tree was as well. All right, and let us see what we do have to work with. We do have some pretty nice options in this pack, so let us see if we have some trees, some flowers perhaps. Ooh, yes, we do have some really cool stuff. We have these massive pieces, which are beautiful, but way too big for what we're trying to do. For plants, we can do maybe something smaller. We could do a few of these around here. I definitely would want a taller tree back in that other area, so I'm going to see what we can find there. I do know that there is some pretty interesting pieces from the debug as well. So let me go ahead and open that menu. Trying to vary up the foliage ever so slightly, trying to make it look a little bit more naturally overgrown, if you will. So let me go ahead and pull more of these out, and I think we should be good to go here. All right, I do like how this is coming along. I do want to grab some of the hanging flower objects from this pack as well, because it'll really bring this build to life. I'll go ahead and use something large like this. We do have a lot of empty wall space, so I think something like this would be perfect just to make it a little bit more dynamic. All right, let me use this once more, and possibly one maybe along this wall, right below the balcony itself. All right, and for the tree, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I'm kind of inclined to actually use a debug tree from the Get Together pack, because I think it'll still tie together this build fairly nicely with the rest of Windenburg. All right, so for debug and Get Together, we do have something like this. This is actually fairly quaint. It does fit in here fairly nicely. All right, on second thought, I'm not really too keen on this railing. Let me see if there are better options. I'm thinking base game could actually be the solution here. So I could do more of a stony texture like this and place it over here just like so. And then of course get the matching fence piece to go along with it. All right, time to replace the good old front door and use this option from the Jungle Adventure pack instead. And maybe we can even use a pop of color here. That will be pretty nice. Something about this blue is really speaking to me, so let me go ahead and use it. I do want to add a few more of these arches over here as well, just as a little peek into the inside. Ooh, we do have some stairs here, but I think I'll just do a one tile staircase instead, and then that should resolve the issue there. I'm going to make one tiny adjustment to the roof piece over here. So let me go ahead and increase the height on the peak, and then go ahead and use this base game object to match as well. So we have a nice little accent there, and I'll even place another awning from the Jungle Adventure pack as well to complete this balcony. All right, moving back out here, I'm going to replace this door and use the same option we incorporated on the front entrance. So it'll be a nice consistent element. I will also replace probably the stone here. I'm thinking I could actually do the wood texture that I do enjoy quite a bit and use this one just like so. All right, so everything here has to go. We do not need these any longer. The fireplace can also change out. We don't need this wood carving. All right, if we did want a fireplace, we do have this option from the Jungle Adventure pack, which actually could do the trick. Let me see if there is a better swatch we can work with. All right, and for an outdoor rug, we could pull from the pack once more. We did have this option, and I think we have one more as well. Aha, here it is. Perfect. So we do have this one. Let me size it down just like that. And do we have any cool options? We certainly do. We do have a lot to choose from. I just have to find a better swatch, and I think we will be good to go. For the seating arrangement, we do have these benches from the pack as well, which we do have larger versions of. I think we also have some kind of single seater. Where are you? You are in here somewhere. Aha, perfect. Just like that. I also will go ahead and choose our wall sconces for the outside. And right off the bat, we do have a really nice option also from the Jungle Adventure pack, and it is this one right here. Perfect. All right, one here and one here. Perfect. And I will also add some in the front and in these balcony areas as well. All right, there we go. Wonderful. And let us check on the night view. All right, this is not looking too bad. I can add a few more up here and maybe one possibly above the door. I'm not really too sure. I could even do one over here next to it, which is not too bad. We lost our plants. What happened, you guys? I think I deleted something and then they just disappeared. Let's bring back one of you guys because you were in there somewhere. I had a crawling vine type of plant like this. Honestly, you guys, this is typical madness in The Sims 4. Things disappear, things break, and we're just left with no clear explanation. All right, we are officially back in the afternoon view, and overall, I am pretty happy with how this exterior came out. So let's go ahead and move on to the inside and see what we can do with this bar area. All right, for starters, let us bring in some of that wonderful wallpaper from the Jungle Adventure pack. I think we can probably experiment with some of the tile pieces that we did get because these are absolutely stunning. We could do a dark red for now just to start things off. I do want to bring back probably the wood texture. So I'll use this All right, this whole stair situation is very weird. We have columns, we have half walls. There's just a lot going on over here, but I can fix this. I can add maybe tile here instead to match with the wallpaper. So let us see if there is something fitting. Did we not get tile in this pack? Yes, we did. We have these options over here. If I wanted a more decorative tile, I could do maybe something like this. That could be kind of interesting. Definitely getting much stronger cantina vibes inside. I do like the idea of a bench here as well, but probably something larger. Ooh, better yet, Get Together has a pretty nice option here, and we can make it fit with the overall style. So I think something like this could do the trick. Ooh, I do love that. Get Together really pulled through with those pops of colors. We do have that sort of darker teal tone that mirrors the door, so that's absolutely perfect. I don't think we need these anymore, but I do want more lighting over here, that is for sure. I'm thinking of using possibly more of these lattice pieces and going up the wall this way, so that could be a possibility. All right, for wall sconces, does anything else fit here? I'm not really too sure. I'm not really seeing anything from base game or Get Together that could work. So I think we will use those same options from the outside, which I'm honestly not really mad at all. So let me go ahead and use these. Go ahead and copy them and place them on each side like this. Maybe we need a chandelier here. I think it's still a little bit too dark. So let me go ahead and find that option. And honestly, I think the option from the Jungle Adventure pack is absolutely perfect. So we can put one over here right by the door, and I think we can possibly put a floor plant here as well. Ooh, we do have a little menu board here, which honestly, I don't really mind too much. I think this could actually stay for the time being. I just want to see if there is a better swatch available. All right, let's go ahead and replace all of these chandeliers. We do not need them anymore, but we will bring back the Jungle Adventure ones over here and possibly add a few more in this space because it is fairly dark. All right, TV can no longer sit here. Let's place it on this wall instead. We can get rid of these banners and hopefully find something a little bit more fitting. Ooh, could we have some kind of countertop moment here? I do believe we can. I'm going to move this foosball table out of the way and then use possibly the option that came with the Jungle Adventure pack. So I'm imagining something like this. Let me see if there is a better swatch, but if not, this one does work fine. All right, same thing over here. I do want to change out this area. The bar is really pushed back for some reason, so let me see if we can shrink it. I actually may add in a kitchen here and make the space just a little bit more functional. All right, delete that. I don't need any of these. Goodbye. And I'll bring back this wallpaper as well. Like I said, we don't really need any more of these chandeliers from the Get Together pack, so I think this is looking better. I would like some kind of fancier drop lighting if we did have that option, but unfortunately, with the packs we're working with, I don't think they will be available. Oh snap, we have chandeliers with no support, which I'm not really sure what to do about. I could possibly drag this over like this and have it go this way, so that's a possibility. But I could also just use some wall sconces instead if I don't want to deal with that. So let me go ahead and revise this. I will bring back those Jungle Adventure wall sconces from the entrance area. Probably going to put them above the windows just like this, and this should help with the lighting situation here. Alright, bar options are slim, you guys. If I select on the bar itself, we don't really have many options that do fit with the style, at least for the packs that we can use. We did have this from the Jungle Adventure pack, but it doesn't really pair well with the other counters, so I think we may be stuck with base game for the time being, which honestly could be worse. I'm going to use this swatch for the time being. I think this is probably the best I can coordinate these objects, and for some reason there are even less swatches on the bar itself, which is pretty frustrating, but it will have to do. I will remove these chairs, however, because they no longer fit with the style, and I may even resolve this area over here because it is a pretty lonely area for a person to sit. Maybe if I center this over here, bring back this countertop over here, and then one just on the corner like this. I think this is a better setup. I think we can also cover up the tiles, so if I bring this over like this, we do have a little bit more space moving forward. Do we have an interesting bar piece? I'm not really too sure if we do. I can look in base game and also in the Get Together pack. We do have a hutch, which is not too bad, so something like this. Could also use this from base game, which is actually not too bad. I think I will use it in place of these hutches, so let me go ahead and put a few of these over here like this, and then possibly add some counters underneath. All right, let me grab one of these counters like so, and I think I'll probably do 4 going across. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I could technically do one more with a partial piece like this. Even better if I can get a rounded corner, just like so. I'm going to delete this sink now, and I'll probably use a base game unit and have the sink over in this area. So probably something like this. I think this should do the trick. Ooh, I could even do some lattice looking into the kitchen. That could be pretty interesting. So I'll put a few maybe over here like this, and then have it intersect the counter ever so slightly. I could even do some over the bar, but I could put a sign here instead. I'm not really too sure. All right, and for signs, I do think we have something available in the Jungle Adventure pack, at least something that could be placed above the bar area. So let me see if I can go ahead and find that. We did have this option, Spirit of the Jungle, which actually does look pretty cool. I can size it down ever so slightly, and I think it is the perfect accent piece here. All right, for the kitchen entrance, I think we can actually use this archway from the Jungle Adventure pack. It does blend in with the tile fairly nicely, so let me do this. I will move over this as well. We do need menus somewhere though. So that is a little bit of a debacle. We did have this object, which is not too bad. We could place another one over here. We could place a larger one along this wall perhaps. And then let me just change out the menu itself. And for shelving units, we actually have a few options. I do like this one from the Jungle Adventure pack. We could do something like this and also match the correct tones as well. Ooh, we could even do this one on top of it, kind of placed a little bit higher than the light. It does have a few wine glasses there, so that could be fairly fitting. All right, we do need some plants in here to spruce up the space a little bit. I'm thinking something in the corner area like this, or maybe something even a little bit taller. So perhaps this option from the Jungle Adventure pack, and possibly some smaller options like this as well, just to add a little bit more color. Moving on to this space, we definitely need to resolve what is going on here. I think I may actually create a solid wall over on this side and create one over here as well, and then make more of an archway entrance, if you will. So we do have this. I'm going to bring back a few of these pieces as well, just adding a little peekaboo kind of spot. I don't really mind that. We could also have them over here as well. So we still have that open air sort of concept, if that makes any sense. These columns, though, they don't really belong anymore, so there they go. Honestly, you guys, I don't really mind this area over here. I'm just going to change the wood swatch on the Get Together closet, and I think it should be all set to go. All right, let's resolve this area. I don't think we need this anymore as well. We do need railings on this staircase, and I think we can just go with base game here. All right, when in doubt, we have to fill the space with plants. It usually does the trick, so I'm certainly not mad at it. Probably going to use this tapestry object from base game just like this. I think that is fairly fitting. All right, I'm going to be adventurous. I'm actually going to use this object from base game. It does seem to be inspired by Dia de los Muertos, so I'm going to increase it in size like this, and then possibly put 2 more throughout the build itself. All right, we do need to get rid of all of this. I don't really like any of these objects from the Get Together pack, especially for this type of build. All right, so we have the potential for something like this from base game, which I do believe fits a cantina style quite well. So let me see if I can try and incorporate it. Probably going to put about 3 of these tables and then possibly even section them off. I'm not really too sure just yet. Could we do some kind of separation over here? Possibly. I could do either a partial wall, or I could do more of a sort of like a railing banister type of look if I do something like this. All right, I think this is slowly shaping up. I do want to add more of these paper decorations from base game, however, because I think they will tie the look together fairly well, and I do think that they are fairly culturally appropriate. So let me put a few of these, possibly connecting the lamps themselves. Do I want a partial wall instead? I'm not really too sure about that. Let me try it out. I'm going to try and replace the fencing I put over here and see if the tile motif works slightly better. So I could do something like this. I will copy over these tiles like so, and then choose an appropriate partial wall trim, if you will. Yeah, I think that works more effectively. Let me see if I can put maybe more plants over here. I'm thinking there is a trio of plants from the Jungle Adventure pack, and I will say it's very rare that I would use the full clump that EA provided, but sometimes, just sometimes, it actually does the trick. So I will pull this object over here like this and place it beneath the stairs. All right, I think we are all set in this area. I'm pretty happy with how it came out, but I think we are ready to move on to the kitchen, and that will pretty much complete the first floor of this build, which honestly was pretty massive. All right, for the tile, I'm thinking I could actually do a whole wall of this darker blue tile like this, trying to differentiate it from the rest of the build. Let me get all of the more industrial options, possibly from base game. So I will use probably this fridge over here. I will use these counters like this. All right, let's pop in those ovens. And I do like this option from the Jungle Adventure pack, so I will use it here. And I do believe the sink will go probably farther along this area, so it's a little bit more out of the way from the rest of the kitchen itself. All right, more lattice, here we come. It will bring some light into the kitchen and possibly some more ventilation, so I think these could do the trick. All right, bringing in some wonderful industrial stove hoods, which I rarely get to use, but they are quite fitting with this build. So let me go ahead and add 2 of these in. All right, so going upstairs, we did get a lot of the wall trim coming through, which I do have to delete. Also going to bring up the same wooden planks up here. And I'm thinking I will continue this same nice red tone as well. Not going to use the mosaic option, but just the plain red this time around. Going to get rid of all of these lanterns from the Get Together pack and all of these weird flags and old photographs, which just no longer fit with the theme. All right, we must say goodbye to these columns because yet again, we do not have a matching wood tone, but we do have this option from the Get Together pack instead, which I think does fit fairly well. All right, and for these walls, I'm actually going to go back on my word ever so slightly. I do like this mosaic option, but I'm only going to use it on these walls over here. So anything connecting from the first floor, I will leave as is with the continuous red, but I will go along the wall with this pattern just like so. All right, guys, this bathroom situation is really wonky because I feel like they're way too big. I think what I could actually do is maybe delete this bathroom and then create some kind of gaming area up here instead. So let me see if I can make that happen. All right, the roof is cutting through, but we can fix that. I think we can probably do the bathroom on this side and then have all of this area be the gaming space. So let me go ahead and do this. Let's do wooden planks for now and then continue the same motifs with the wallpaper. We do also have space for a larger window over here. So let me go ahead and use this option once more, just like this. All right, better yet, you guys. Let's do 2 gender neutral bathrooms. So they'll be over here along this wall, and then I can really open up this space towards the right. So we'll have a lot more recreational room for your Sims. Definitely going to be a little bit more industrial in this area, so I will use the same wall sconces I used in the kitchen, and I think the fixtures will be fairly straightforward as well, mostly pulling just from base game. All right, boom, boom, perfect. For the sink, we could actually do this option from Jungle Adventure, which honestly may not be too bad. Let me see if there is a better matching swatch, possibly this one to match with a toilet. Put you over here as well. All right, better yet, I will add in an additional wall over here and then place these bathroom doors on the inside. I think it adds just a nice layer of privacy and a better separation from the game room area. All right, and for the game area, I do want to bring back these counters from down here and recreate a similar setup in this little corner, just like so. All right, get those bar stools in. And possibly a similar TV, if not the same one. I think we can still fit it if it's sized down, so probably something like this. Definitely will need more of these wall sconces. I'll probably put one maybe over here and another one over here. We could do maybe the foosball table in this area. So let me go ahead and find that. Swatches are kind of weird on this object. Nothing quite matches with the wood tones, but I think I will use this slate blue instead, kind of matching with the tiles themselves. All right, I'm going to steal this rug once more. I think that it can work up here as well, so let me go ahead and place it underneath the foosball table. Let me copy over this rug once more. And I think I want to bring back the Don't Wake the Llama table. I think that will be a great way to complete this floor. So let me do this. I will try to find a more suitable wood tone, so hopefully something sticks. All right, let's bring back some more lattice over here. I definitely want more natural light, so I think this could help. All right, guys, it is plants to the rescue in The Sims 4. They just simply work. They simply work when you need a little bit of decor in your space. So here we go, just putting a few options from base game and also the Jungle Adventure Pack. And I think we should be set with this room. Alright guys, so we are officially done with our style or pack swap challenge in The Sims 4, and honestly this turned out way better than I ever expected. We started with a very Tudor-inspired build, very Western European if you will, and transformed this tavern into more of a Mexican-inspired cantina, if you will. So, of course, our pack of choice was the Jungle Adventure Pack, so we only used this pack with base game and also the Get Together pack. So, honestly, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed using these giant roof pieces from the base game, but also a lot of the tiles, awnings, the lattice pieces, so many wonderful objects from the Jungle Adventure Pack. But this is just a look at the outside. We did reduce the height of the build a little bit with the removal of the third floor, which was kind of a fake floor, if you will, but it was obviously very massive beforehand. But yes, more of a mission style, if you will, especially with the outside over here. Moving on into the main area of the cantina, honestly you guys, there are so many changes to go through, but I'm pretty sure the lot can speak for itself. I had to truncate the bar quite a bit, so making it a little bit more narrow, but adding in more counters, more seating. I do like these bar objects and logo from the Jungle Adventure Pack as well. We do have the addition of a small kitchen towards the back, which I think was more realistic and does add another aspect of gameplay for your Sims. But of course, going back out, there was also the semi-partially separated dining space. Honestly, I did like this quite a bit more, and of course, I moved all of the recreational objects upstairs, but as you can see, base game was the true hero. The chairs, the tables, the figurines, these sort of paper banners along the wall, honestly just really tie the space together. Heading up to the second floor now, this was quite an undertaking as well. We got rid of those huge ginormous bathrooms and instead made them a lot smaller and of course gender neutral as well. So here they are along this side. We do have a separating wall over here, which marks the recreational space. I did bring back a lot of the objects that were originally on the first floor. So we do have the foosball table, we do have the Don't Wake the Llama set, and I also replicated this little bar area over here with a nice flat screen TV as well. So that pretty much sums up all the changes in this formerly Tudor-esque bar in the world of Windenburg. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this build challenge. I will say for my very first community lot with you guys, I really loved how this turned out, especially with all of the exterior design choices and of course the remodeling on the inside as well. As always, please feel free to let me know how I did in the comments below. Did you like how the build turned out? Could I have done things better? Or are you also willing to take on this challenge yourself? On that note, I will see you all in the next build challenge. And of course, just like always, this has been 𝗧𝗛𝗞𝗦 signing off. Thank you so much for watching, guys.